Hello, and welcome to the Handy Capable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Today I'm going to be continuing talking about kind of a combination of topics, or I should say maybe of headings, because I'm going to be doing more about dating nightmares, but with an African American spin, because I created a list of reasons why African American men told me that they didn't want anything to do with me, or it might be interest or how I looked. And I'm gonna, I'm covering my interests and my goals and things like that. But last episode was investing, and I touched on the starting of my business. But then also, if you look at these two screenshots, they're perfect. Yes, these are repeats. I do have a dating nightmare episode about both of these, but part of me is just like, not everyone's gonna watch every episode. So, since I get so many of these messages as presents, why not share with the world? Why not try to make sure everyone sees the real thoughts that are in these guys' mind? Why not show the hatred, the vitriol, the disgusting thoughts in their head? So, and slightly racist. Yeah. Yeah. So why not? Why not? Be fun and petty, you know? But, anyways, like, with my dating standards, education is a big deal to me. And as many of you guys know, if you're not new, I have been through a lot when it comes to education and things. And especially once I finished my bachelor's, I was thinking, okay, it's time to go out there and date, because my parents didn't really allow me to date. My first date, I think I was 20. Yeah, I was 20 or 21. I think I was 20 though. But after, and my first date was with a guy that yeah, let's just say, met their standards. But anyway, it's like I started dating after college again, and because that relationship was over, and I was trying to still date within their quota and stuff like that. So I remember there was this one guy that messaged me, or I forgot how we met, but he was just like, "Oh my gosh, you're so pretty," and wow, it's like just whatever garbage he was saying. But I remember, I think it was the second or third time we met, I just got accepted into grad school. I was so excited because all like K through 12 was hard enough, and now I know why it was hard. It's so crazy how only after all of my education, and after sometimes feeling like I was a failure, or I was just so dumb because I couldn't get it fast enough, now I know why it took me longer to study for tests, why I'm terrible with tests, and how I should have had help throughout school with like either tutoring or special services or resources or whatever. And but now I know I have a lot more strength, and that's one reason why I'm not quitting. I'm not giving up. A lot of people tell me that I'm wasting my time, but I'm like, you know what? If I am, so be it. But at least I'm leaving my voice on this earth, you know? At least I'm living life, and life isn't living me. get it. But I remember how after I was done with my bachelor's, I got my degree in a double minor and I started applying for jobs, but job after job, oh, well, we want more work experience or a master's. It's like, you seem really nice and, well, we think you can do the job, but we found someone who already has the experience and things like that. And it was just kind of annoying and frustrating. And also with my walk, oh, we don't have an elevator. And so it's like, yeah, it was things either with my disability or since I didn't have my master's or I didn't have the work experience. So part of me was like, okay, since I need a job to get the work experience, but no one's giving me the work experience, so then I can get the jobs, etc. It's a cycle and a whirlwind of just a nightmare. I was like, I'll get my master's then, because this way it will help me get a job. Yes, that's a different story. I will tell that story very soon, but I applied and got accepted. I got in. I was so excited, so happy. But the people who I thought would congratulate me or be happy, it was the opposite. And it still hurts to like, because sometimes when people tell me sticks and stones may break your bones, but words may never, that's a lie. Words hurt. Words hurt. And this is one reason, like, sometimes when people get divorced, like, because sometimes, like, people say, well, if he didn't, or if he or she didn't, like, hurt you physically, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes it's words. Sometimes it's what they say to you. It's the mental. It's like, even with, like, some of these kids, it's like with social media, it's not the physical that made some of these kids leave this earth way too early. No, it's the words that were typed, it was the words that were said. Like, a lot of people don't get that. It's like they don't know how traumatizing words can be because words stay in your mind. Bruises heal, but words you remember. And yes, you can remember the action of when if someone hurt you or and everything, but those words stay with you, echo in your head, can end up in your nightmares. They did with me, and that's one reason I ended up dating Mr. No Heart and Mr. Lockakey. So, but yeah, I told some people who I thought would be excited, who I thought would be encouraging, and they weren't at all. And so I thought, this one guy who he seemed interested and he asked me out for it was either the second or third date. And I remember I was like, okay, I'm gonna tell him. It's like he seems really interested in me. So I was like, and maybe I don't even know what I expected, but I thought, maybe some kind of congratulations, something positive. So we ended up going to meeting up at some kind of Coney Island kind of place. And we just started eating and everything, and oh my gosh, I was so giddy and excited, and I was just like, guess what, and he kind of looked at me funny, and he was like, why are you so happy? And so that kind of already took away from the excitement. Sorry. Yeah, that already took away from the excitement. But I remember telling him that I got into grad school and I was going to be starting in a month or two. And he just kind of looked at me and he was just like, Oh no, it's like because he was looking at me while cutting his food, and he says, "You know, you're not gonna do it, right?" What? You know, you're not gonna do it, right? What do you mean? I got accepted. Yes, I'm getting in. It's like I'm filling out financial aid and everything so I can start. And next thing I know, he told me if I went to grad school or if I didn't drop out, that he wasn't dating me. And I just remember I wasn't hungry anymore. I remember I took a doggy bag. Home. I didn't even take it home. I forgot. I drove somewhere and I ate in the parking lot. I don't know if I cried. I think I was so upset. I was just like, I was confused and upset. And anyways, it's like I just remember I was like, okay, skip him, whatever. And he got mad at me too, because I guess I didn't follow his orders or whatever. I wasn't gonna be a, because yeah, I think he even said I wasn't being a good girl or some crap like that. And so anyway, back to the dating world. Yeah, I was on Plenty of Fish, the old school Plenty of Fish, and there was another black guy that I was, and I think I already started. I just started at this point. I think I because there was a few guys within just like less than a year. There were like 5 or 6 men, 5 or 6 black men, all of them telling me to drop out. So this one might be just before I started, because I remember he was just like, "Why are you trying to be like some kind of white girl?" And I was just like, "What? What are you talking about? I'm going to college." It's like, so you think you're better than me? What, going to college? What? And I hope maybe some of you guys see why I have on my standards list must have a degree, a trade, or a certification. Because this is what I kept getting, especially from black men. Especially from black men. Some white men hated that I had more education than them, but it's funny how a lot of black men they want to say, "Oh, you're our queen. You are, yeah, you're amazing." Like black girl, like rocks or power, whatever, blah 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 blah. But then you want to knock us off as quickly as you can. You want to make sure we're so submissive and we have nothing of our own. We don't have our any of our dreams or anything to be able to grab onto. You want to make sure that we are fully, entirely, like just in need of you, that we're not able to obtain anything on our own or anything that does not include you. Or, yeah, I mean, and maybe that's a man thing, but I didn't have it like, I'm trying to, like, even with Mr. Lockett and Mr. No Heart, they didn't do that, like, because Mr. Lockett could hardly keep a job. He kept stealing from all his jobs, so I know that's not what he was ever going to think. I think he was so happy that I had degrees and that I was trying to build myself up because, oh yeah, I'm going to tell you guys when you try to apply to be a stripper. That's a story. That's a story I still laugh about because, oof, it's like, because his wife went, because I broke up with him. Oh, yeah, I didn't tell the story on YouTube. I'm going to tell this full story on my podcasters know, but my YouTubers don't know the story. But anyway, this is why I have that standard because so much throughout my life, for some reason, I kept running into the men that were telling me that I either was not allowed to get an education or that I was trying to be white. And that's why I was trying to get my education. And Why do I have to be white to be educated? It's like, do you know that goes back to the slavery days? It's like, I just want to know. It's like, because part of me, I think we're trying to repeat history. We are literally trying to repeat history because when I taught school in the city, K through 8, so many of the 8th graders were still at a 3rd, 4th grade level. It's like I was doing my best trying to help them try to get to at least a middle school level before they got to high school. The 3rd and 4th grade level. But then when I met their parents during parent teacher conferences and I would try to tell them about different ways I was trying to get their reading higher, and maybe like, oh, maybe you guys could read a magazine together. Maybe you guys can like read part of a news article together. What do you think? You think I got time for that? Oh, you think, oh, they're not, you might think she might go to college. That's a joke. And it was just some of the most, whew, we used to not be allowed to read. We used to not be allowed to get our education, go to college, and all of this stuff. And now we are allowed to. But now I keep hearing from my own people, and, well, I mean, in my opinion, the racist MAGA Republicans too, that either we're not supposed to be able to go to college, or that we're not smart enough to do certain goals or certain careers and things. And it's tiresome. It's tiresome. I almost feel like they're trying to turn back the clock to the point where we just become the help. No, I worked my butt off in school. And I have ideas and I have things for my business, for my, like, things that I want to create for my income. Not for someone else to get credit for it, for me to get credit for it. I'm paying for things to be copyrighted under my name. I'm writing stories and novels under my name. I'm creating things on Etsy under my business name. And it's just exhausting how, when it comes to education, how many men get mad at me or tell me I'm trying to be white because of my education. Why should only white people be educated? Why? It's like, if you want to write that down in the like messages below, why? And what, or why do you think, or in my experience, so many black men have told me this? Because it doesn't make any sense. Especially, like I said before, our ancestors fought hard for us to be able to have the right to proper education, to be able to read and to be able to get higher education so we can have careers that isn't just grunt work or working under a white person, being their help, or doing just doing what they want us or need us to do. And I don't know, it's to the point where, just why? What is going on? Because I know later, like on Plenty of Fish, when I was in class, I remember I got a message, and a very handsome, like, African American man too. And he was just like, oh my gosh, I just want to get to know you. You're so beautiful. It's like, if I can get to know you enough, I would love to take you out to dinner. And he mentioned one of the, like, he, I forgot, like, he mentioned either a nearby beach or something, like, because he was like, we can walk the beach after, and like, I know some of the coolest spots at night. etc., etc., etc. And so it's like we were we were kind of like writing back and forth and things. And I remember I mentioned, yeah, I'm working on a paper for my class right now. And he was like, oh, it's like, what kind of school are you doing? It's like, you doing night school or something? And I'm like, no, it's like, I'm in grad school right now. It's like, I'm working on my MA. And I mentioned like what I was studying. And then I was working on my paper. So I continued on my paper. But it's like, I noticed that it's like, I wasn't getting any messages back. So I remember going back over and yeah, I think that's when he blocked me. He blocked me because I told him what I was studying for my master's. And I remember there was another gentleman who, there was a time where I stopped telling men because I was just like, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to tell them. And that's happened since Mr. No Heart. There were about 8 months where I didn't tell a guy about my business. I didn't tell guys about my either my degrees or anything like that because Mr. Thomas, it's like, yeah, I have his screenshots in another episode. I talk about him. He's the one, or yes, like my podcasters, they've heard that story too. He was incarcerated for a few years, or I think 6 years, 4 to 6 years, something like that, one of the times. And then he was, yeah, let's just say he was returning one. But I don't know. It was just I told him, and he was okay with it at first until I mean yeah, I don't know. It's just amazing with the treatment and just for getting education. I don't know why. Because I know well, with the black men after Mr. No Heart, there was one gentleman who, and yeah, I use gentleman loosely, but I remember he was just like, okay, you already look like an Oreo, but do you really have to try to act white too? Excuse me? Because I already knew I was going to block him at this point, but I had to know, like, I need to know more. And this is before I took screenshots too. But I just remember he was basically like, you trying to, like, why are you trying to get all this education? It's like, it's just a piece of paper for no reason. It's like you're doing one of the most expensive, stupidest things known to mankind or whatever. And he was like, I can buy papers at the gas station cheaper and I get more out of it. And yeah, his 420. So yeah, if you know, you know. And if you don't know, ask your mama. But it was just like, okay, lost my interest. So I blocked him. And then he had another account. So then he decided, he was like, you don't block me. And he was just like, I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you, you made a stupid mistake. And he was just like, you don't understand. It's like women aren't supposed to go to college. They're supposed to stay home. It's like you let us take care of the money. And so I was like, okay, so how much do you make? And that's when he started swearing and all this other stuff. Because I'm like, oh, okay, you told me that I'm just supposed to depend on your money. It's like a woman should know how much you make then. Because if she doesn't think you make enough, it's like, how would that be fair on her? But it's like, I'm not shallow like that. And I'm trying to build my own business. It's like, because the thing is, I didn't care how much a man made. it's like if it appears like I do now, it's like a lot of people say I'm a snob and all stuck up and everything now, but I only ask for the education portion because almost all of these men who said what they said, they might have a high school diploma, and that's it. And when I did meet men who have higher education, I didn't really have that problem. But especially with how I walk, most men who are educated, they don't like how I walk. And so that was the issue. So yeah, being the handicapable black woman, I face a lot when it comes to dating and a lot of ridicule or just rejection and things like that. And I still have my education. That guy said I was stupid to get my papers. Well, it's like a man can leave me any day, but my education won't. I worked hard for my education. And with my businesses, I'm using all of my education. Even with my novels, I'm using, well, okay, yeah, one of my certifications is kind of unique and everything, but I'm using I'll just say, every degree that I'm using or that I have earned, I'm literally using in my business, and I love it. And a lot of men say I'm acting white by getting my education when we used to not be allowed to read. And when we were allowed to read, we were only allowed to read the portions of the Bible that the owners made sure that the slaves were basically brainwashed to think that they should be proud to be slaves, that it was their jobs to be slaves, and that's all they were good for was to be slaves. And I refuse to like go backwards towards that. I am happy to have my education. Yes, I do wish I had kids. See, it's like, and I didn't say a man, I said kids. But with the men that I've met, my life would be a nightmare. My life would be a nightmare. Because most of these men, they would not have allowed me to get where I'm going. And I'm still working hard on it. So, anyway, just know I am the handicapable black woman. I am a woman. I am of color. And I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human. And so are you. And don't forget, I have my books on Amazon. And I am working on getting them on other sites right now. So hopefully soon I will be on Lulu, and there's 3 or 4 other ones that I've been looking at. But yes, I am one person. So yeah. And check me out on my Etsy, please. And if you click somewhere on this screen, I have my Linktree, so you'll be able to check me out on Linktree as well. But don't be a stranger, and soon I will have more on the handicapable black nerd. I want to promise that, but oh, life's been life in lately. But I will have things to talk about Disney World, about when I got to go see Wicked, about jury duty, and driving lessons. Yeah, it's been interesting. But you guys have a great and amazing day. Take care. Bye.